Lynn and welcome to the channel. The topic of why I'm awake and why other people just don't seem to get it is a big one concerning the awakening, the event, and the global great awakening of humanity. And I think that every single person who has been on this journey of awakening has asked themselves sometimes, why is it that some of the people around me, not all necessarily, but some people just don't seem to get what's going on at a planetary level with the control systems, the manipulation, the coercion, and basically the agenda of the elite that's being implemented at quite an increasing pace. And it has been a source of frustration, a source of isolation, a source of alienation from a lot of people. And really the phrase, once you wake up, you don't go back to sleep, is very accurate and very pertinent, because it's a one-way ticket. And ultimately this journey of awakening does at some levels involve the understanding of the power structure on the planet. Now, in terms of the awakening process from a more general perspective, there are different layers, there are different levels and different aspects. So the part that I'm referring to today in the context of the awakening journey I'm really referring to for this video is in reference to the understanding of what some people would call the matrix or the control system or the agenda of the elite, all the ways that our society is constructed in a way to keep humanity suppressed at a physical, energetical, emotional, mental, spiritual, psychological level. So we cannot transform and evolve to awaken in essence. So part of what is being implemented at a planetary level is designed specifically so that people cannot wake up to what's going on. For example, with fluoride, many studies show that fluoride actually lowers the IQ. So people consuming fluoride in the tap water, even bathing in fluoride water, you're going to soak in some of it, is having that effect. So that's the effect of keeping people basically asleep. Now, what I'll be discussing in this video and in the context of what I've just defined awakening beforehand is that, well, why is it some people just seem to get it and some people don't? So ultimately we can look at this from a perspective of consciousness, and consciousness will determine whether someone can actually perceive this breaking of the mold, the hypnosis, the collective hypnosis that we're all subjected to different degrees. And why is one person not conscious of this and another is? Well, at the deepest level, it's really because of the energetic bodies that we really refer to as chakras. And some people are configured at an energetical perspective that they just can't simply break out of this hypnosis. And this analysis of why this is occurring at the deepest levels is because of the chakras. Now, this is really our energetic body, our energetic blueprint, and our connection to the universe. So we all have the different chakras, whether we are aware of them or not, whether we have different belief systems or not, and they are basically our doorway or our interface, our gateway to the universe. And in this way we connect to the universe, and simultaneously the universe connects to us through the different chakras. So this form of consciousness that limits the awakening for an individual, at least for now, because there is a flip side to this, is what we refer to as Svadhisthana chakra, the sacral chakra. Now, the spelling can vary. For example, in this translation from Sanskrit, you can see this word without the H's. So there's different ways of spelling it. The H is one of the ways that you can omit or include in Sanskrit when you translate it into the English language. It's just one of these features of this particular language. But the important thing to understand is that Svadhisthana chakra represents the masses, the collective consciousness. And this is why it's so significant for people breaking through from this, because really, although the awakening is gathering pace and it's happening at a faster and faster rate, if we track it back 20, 25 years, there was very, very little people that understood the power dynamic, the power structure on the planet. And why is it that now this is changing, this is shifting. There's some other reasons for this, but at a personal level, some people simply cannot understand this because they're locked into this framework of this Svadhisthana chakra, and they don't have consciousness in necessarily the other chakras. It's of course a more complex story that I'm communicating to you today, because the chakras basically are representing of the macrocosm in our individual being. So this is reflected, all aspects of the universe reflected through the chakras. But the thing that when in the awakening community, this derogatory term that is being used, the sheeple, well, that is one of the archetypal aspects of the consciousness on Svadhisthana chakra, because on Svadhisthana chakra, people are simply really concerned with fitting in, and really what is the focus of the norm, the done thing. So this is really what the challenge is for people having this consciousness, which, by the way, some people say is 80% of the planet are dominant on this chakra. I would suggest it's even more than that, perhaps even up to 90%. And that's debatable at different, from different contexts. But the important thing to understand is that Svadhisthana chakra is basically the collective, the crowd consciousness, the norm. And then to break out of that, to move to what is from the norm, to be like the crowd, to be one of the leaders of the crowd. Well, this transformation is basically connecting with the activation of the next chakra up, which is Manipura chakra, which is the navel chakra, which basically means, in translation from Sanskrit, is city of gems, city of jewels. So it has a dazzling aspect to it, because significantly Svadhisthana chakra is related with the water element, which means it basically is undulating, is oscillating, and that means if you pour water into a vase, it takes the shape of a vase. You pour water into a pot, it takes the shape of a pot. So it lacks this definition in a way. It lacks this structure, this strength, we can say. That's what the water element represents. Now, I know the water element can be very powerful in the case of a tsunami or something, but it's a more heavy, dense element than when we move into Manipura chakra and we move to the fire element. So this is significant because the fire element is dazzling, it's glowing, and it has personality. This chakra, Manipura chakra, is the antithesis, because Svadhisthana chakra is ruled by the moon, so therefore there's a connection to the emotions, our emotional way of being, and particularly people who are suffering from depression, heavy emotions, apathy, helplessness, hopelessness, these sort of emotions. It's because of an imbalance or a predominance on Manipura chakra that that's how they experience reality. And this is through the chakras, how I'm explaining this now. So this is important to understand, because the emotions here are heavy. They are more related with the water element, so there's a density to it. But moving into Manipura chakra, change of element, related with the fire element, and of course Manipura chakra is related with the sun. So we can say that if Svadhisthana chakra is the collective consciousness or the crowd, then Manipura chakra is the leaders of the crowd, is the ones who are having this connection to the states of consciousness around self-confidence, self-belief, self-determination, dynamism, kind of success at a general level, how we perceive it, at least in life today, not necessarily from a spiritual point of view. And it brings with it a dazzling energy, because the fire is dynamic, it is flickering, it has this raw power to it, and that's funneling into this consciousness of the chakra, of this chakra, which means that people who are aware of the global agenda, when we talk about the power structure, the agenda of the elite, and all these types of issues which we see playing out across in the medical system, in the legal system, the fractional reserve banking system, the military industrial complex, the control of information, all these sorts of things. The people that break through from the perspective of the chakras, that can see this, have more Manipura chakra. And it's a generalization, it's not a mathematical rule, but in general, these people have the ability to see, have the eyes to see. And this is because of this consciousness in Manipura chakra, because if we look at the chakras from the perspective of advanced consciousness, They're all significant, but they are, what's relevant about them is that as we ascend up the chakras, they become more complex in consciousness. There's more spokes, for example. There's only 6 spokes for Svadhisthana chakra, whereas for Manipura chakra it's 10. The next one up, Anahata, there's 12 chakras, 12 spokes, and we can see this has this complexity of consciousness. So this is the significance of this topic from the perspective of the ones who actually can see this. In general, people have more Manipura. It doesn't mean that they're completely open at this level, but there is more there. And there's also a fear of the consciousness in Svadhisthana, which is predominant on this planet. 75% of this planet is water, 75% of our body itself is also water, is actually being the odd one out or being different. So this pressure to conform that we all experience it one way or another is related directly to this Svadhisthana chakra. So the idea of being different, expressing different opinions, of coming up with a different perspective on reality and everything, if it doesn't fit into the norm, if it doesn't fit into the consensus, then people on Svadhisthana will find that very difficult. And the egotistical behavior on Svadhisthana is also reflected in this from the point of view of, oh, I'm not interested in that, or that doesn't make any difference to my world, to my life. So this is the other aspect of Svadhisthana chakra, is that people are just simply not interested, even when they hear about these issues, when they're spoken to them about them, there's information in whatever avenue of daily life, they simply say, oh, it's not interested in me, or that it doesn't resonate with me. That's exactly the point, because these issues around power, authority, control, all these types of things, much the domain of Manipura chakra. And if the person is not activated at that level, then it simply won't show up to them as being significant in their life. So I'll pick up this topic in the next video, and then we'll go into this at a deeper level and expand on this concept, because it's important to understand that this is the fundamental level why people are so frustrated, where people can't understand why people can't wake up. This is the key level, as determined through our energetic structure, our energetic bodies, and the activation or lack of activation of the chakras. So thanks for watching. Welcome to the channel. Like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.